Alexandra Bellamy stood frozen in the coffee shop doorway, rainwater dripping from her umbrella, as she witnessed something that made her heart pause. Amid the morning rush of business suits and laptop warriors, a man in worn jeans and a faded flannel shirt sat with a little girl who couldn't be more than 5. His large, work-roughened hands moved with surprising delicacy as he braided his daughter's hair, his expression a mixture of concentration and tenderness that struck Alexandra with unexpected force. "Daddy, is it pretty?" the little girl asked, trying to sit still but wiggling with the natural impatience of childhood. "Almost done, Lily Bug," he replied, securing the braid with a small elastic. "And yes, you look beautiful. Always." Alexandra couldn't explain why she couldn't look away. As CEO of Bellamy Innovations, one of the city's fastest-growing tech companies, she'd built her career on quick assessments and decisive action. Yet something about this father's gentleness, the contrast between his obviously limited means and the wealth of care he showed his daughter, kept her rooted to the spot. Her assistant cleared his throat beside her. "Miss Bellamy, we're going to be late for the Walker meeting if we don't hurry." "Right," she said, forcing herself to move toward the counter. "Let me just grab a coffee first." As she waited for her order, Alexandra found herself glancing back at the father and daughter. The man was now helping his little girl into a purple raincoat that had seen better days. When he stood to leave, she noticed how tall he was, well over 6 feet with broad shoulders that seemed to carry an invisible weight. The barista called out, "Large Americano for Alexandra." The tall man turned at the name, and their eyes met briefly across the busy coffee shop. His were startlingly blue against his tanned face, and for a moment, Alexandra felt something shift in the air between them, recognition of some kind, though they'd never met. Then his daughter tugged his hand. "Daddy, we'll be late for school." He smiled down at the child, breaking the strange connection. "You're right, Lily. Let's go." Alexandra watched them leave, the little girl skipping, her perfectly braided hair bouncing beneath a worn umbrella her father held carefully to shield her from the rain. "Miss Bellamy." Her assistant's voice was more insistent now. "The meeting?" "Yes, of course," she said, collecting her coffee. But as she stepped back into the rain, she found herself wondering about the man with the gentle hands and the weight of responsibility etched into his face. 3 days later, Alexandra found herself back at the same coffee shop. She told herself it was because they made excellent coffee, not because she was hoping to see the father and daughter again. The rational part of her brain, the part that had built a technology empire from the ground up, knew how ridiculous it was to be thinking about a stranger she'd glimpsed for only a few minutes. Yet there she was, at precisely the same time, nursing her Americano and pretending to review quarterly reports on her tablet. Just as she was about to give up, the bell above the door chimed, and there they were, the tall man and his daughter, both slightly damp from the continuing spring rain. The little girl wore the same purple raincoat and carried a colorful backpack nearly as big as she was. "Can I have hot chocolate, Daddy? Please?" The child's voice carried clearly across the shop. "Not today, Lily," he said gently. "Remember, we're saving up for your new shoes." The girl nodded solemnly, and Alexandra felt something twist inside her chest. Before she could think better of it, she approached them. "Excuse me," she said, and the man turned, surprise registering in those blue eyes as he recognized her. "I couldn't help overhearing. Would you mind if I bought your daughter a hot chocolate, and maybe something for yourself?" He stiffened slightly, and Alexandra immediately regretted her approach. Of course he wouldn't want charity. "That's very kind," he said carefully, "but we're fine, thank you." His voice was deep but gentle, matching his demeanor. "Daddy, who's this lady?" The little girl Lily looked up at Alexandra with curious brown eyes. "Just someone being nice, sweetheart," he answered, then looked back at Alexandra with a polite but firm smile. "Thank you for the offer, but we're good." Alexandra nodded, embarrassed. "Of course, I apologize for intruding." She returned to her seat, mentally kicking herself. What had she been thinking? She knew better than to approach strangers with offers that might seem condescending, no matter how well-intentioned. As she gathered her things to leave, she noticed the man at the counter ordering just a small black coffee for himself. His daughter stood beside him, looking longingly at the display of pastries, but not asking for anything. Alexandra was nearly at the door when she heard the little girl's excited squeal. "Look, Daddy, my hot chocolate has marshmallows." She turned to see the barista handing Lily a cup topped with whipped cream and mini marshmallows. "I didn't order that," the man said, looking confused. The barista smiled. "It's already paid for, sir. Someone left instructions to give your daughter a hot chocolate if you came in today. And this is for you." She handed him a larger coffee than the one he'd ordered, along with a brown bag that presumably contained food. The man looked around the coffee shop, his gaze eventually landing on Alexandra by the door. She hadn't left payment or instructions with the staff. It must have been someone else's kindness, but from the way his expression softened slightly, she knew he thought it was her doing. Alexandra offered a small smile and slipped out the door before he could approach her. The last thing she saw was Lily's delighted face as she carefully sipped her treat, and her father's thoughtful gaze following Alexandra's departure. Back at her office, Alexandra found herself distracted. The mystery benefactor at the coffee shop had done what she'd wanted to do, help without embarrassing the proud father. It was a small kindness, the kind that happened every day in cities around the world, yet it left her thinking about the different realities people lived. "You're a million miles away today," remarked her CFO after their budget meeting. "Something on your mind?" Alexandra shook her head, just thinking about a community outreach initiative. That evening, instead of working late as usual, Alexandra found herself driving through a neighborhood she didn't know well, following directions to the city's community center where her company was sponsoring a new computer lab. The ribbon cutting was scheduled for the following week, but she wanted to see the space beforehand without the cameras and speeches. The center was busy with after-school activities when she arrived. Children of various ages played basketball in the gym, worked on art projects, or received homework help from volunteers. As Alexandra walked the hallways, looking for the tech lab, a familiar voice stopped her in her tracks. "Remember to keep your arms straight, just like that. Good job, Emily." She followed the sound to a small dance studio where several young girls in leotards were attempting basic ballet positions. And there, demonstrating a plie with surprising grace for his size, was the man from the coffee shop. Alexandra stood in the doorway, watching as he moved between the students, adjusting an arm here, encouraging a wobbly child there. His daughter Lily was among them, beaming with pride whenever he came near her. "That's it for today, everyone," he announced after a few minutes. "Remember to thank Miss Rivera before you leave." An older woman Alexandra hadn't noticed nodded appreciatively as the girls thanked her and filed out to waiting parents. "You saved my class, Tyler," the woman said to him. "I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't stepped in when I hurt my hip." Tyler. So that was his name. "Happy to help, Alina," he replied, helping her gather some scattered props. "Lily loves these classes so much, it was the least I could do." "You're a natural teacher," Alina said. "Have you ever considered taking it up professionally? We're always looking for instructors, and it pays better than hauling construction materials all day." He laughed, but there was no bitterness in it. "Maybe someday. For now, I'm just grateful you let Lily attend on a scholarship." Alexandra stepped back as the students began exiting, not wanting to be seen, but she wasn't quick enough. "It's the hot chocolate lady, Daddy," Lily's voice rang out, and Alexandra found herself face to face with Tyler again. His surprise quickly turned to a warm smile that transformed his entire face. "Well, hello again. Are you following us?" The question held no accusation, just gentle humor. "Actually, I'm here to check on a technology lab my company is funding," Alexandra explained. "I had no idea I'd run into you." "Daddy teaches ballet when Miss Rivera's hip hurts." Lily informed her importantly. He's the best dancer ever. Tyler's cheeks reddened slightly. I wouldn't go that far. I just help out. I used to dance in college before. He stopped himself, then smiled. Anyway, thank you for the coffee shop treats earlier. That was thoughtful of you. I wish I could take credit, Alexandra admitted. But it wasn't me. Someone else had the same idea, apparently. His eyebrows rose in surprise. Well, now I have two mysterious benefactors to thank. Or to be embarrassed around. His smile took any sting from the words. I'm Alexandra Bellamy, she said, offering her hand. Tyler Peterson, he replied, his large hand engulfing hers. And you've met my daughter, Lily. I'm 5.5, Lily declared, and I can do a perfect pirouette. Want to see? Before either adult could respond, she spun around, wobbled, and would have fallen if Tyler hadn't steadied her with a practiced hand. Almost perfect, he corrected gently. We're still working on the landing. Alexandra couldn't help but laugh. That was wonderful, Lily. Much better than I could do. You should let my daddy teach you, Lily suggested. He teaches all the mamas too. An awkward silence fell, and Tyler cleared his throat. We should get going. Homework and dinner await. Of course, Alexandra said. It was nice officially meeting you both. You too, Miss Bellamy, Tyler replied formally. Alexandra, please, he nodded. Alexandra. The way he said her name carefully, as if tasting it, made something flutter in her chest. Will you be at the ribbon cutting next week? She asked suddenly. For the tech lab, Tyler looked confused. I didn't know about it, but there will be activities for the kids, Alexandra continued quickly. Coding games, robotics demonstrations, Lily might enjoy it. Tyler hesitated, then nodded. Maybe we'll stop by. I hope so, Alexandra said, and was surprised to realize how sincerely she meant it. After they left, she stood in the hallway, trying to understand why meeting this man and his daughter had affected her so strongly. Alexandra had dated occasionally over the years, but her company had always been her primary relationship. Nothing and no one had distracted her from building Bellamy Innovations into a success. Yet here she was, hoping a man she barely knew would attend a corporate PR event just so she could see him again. Miss Bellamy, the center's director had found her. We're so excited to show you the lab space. Lead the way, Alexandra said, pushing thoughts of Tyler Peterson to the back of her mind. She had work to do. The following week, Alexandra found herself uncharacteristically nervous as she prepared for the community center ribbon cutting. She'd chosen her outfit carefully professional but not intimidating, a simple navy dress rather than her usual power suit. The press is already setting up, her PR director informed her. We've got a good turnout from local media, and the mayor will be here in 20 minutes. Alexandra nodded, scanning the gathering crowd for a tall figure and a little girl who might be wearing a purple raincoat. She didn't see them. The ceremony went smoothly. Alexandra gave her speech about digital equity and the importance of technology access for all children. She cut the ribbon with oversized scissors while cameras flashed, then guided the mayor and other dignitaries through the new lab where children were already engaged with the equipment. It was nearly an hour later, as things were winding down, that she spotted them. Tyler stood at the back of the room, Lily perched on his shoulders for a better view. He wore clean jeans and a button-down shirt that looked newly pressed, and his hair was neatly combed. Lily wore a dress instead of her usual play clothes, and her hair was braided in an elaborate style that Alexandra suspected had taken him considerable time to perfect. They dressed up for this, she realized, and the thought made her smile. Alexandra excused herself from a conversation with the mayor's aide and made her way through the crowd. You came, she said when she reached them. Tyler lowered Lily to the ground. We said we might, he replied with a small smile. Lily wanted to see the robots. Daddy said you're the boss of everything, Lily announced, looking at Alexandra with newfound respect. Alexandra laughed. Not everything, just one company. It must be a big company, Tyler remarked. This is quite an impressive setup you've funded. Would you like a tour? She offered. The official one is over, but I could show you both around. Tyler seemed about to decline, but Lily was already nodding enthusiastically. Can we, Daddy, please? We don't want to take up Miss Bellamy's time, he began. Alexandra, she corrected him again, and I'd enjoy showing you around. Really? Something in her expression must have convinced him, because Tyler nodded. All right then, lead the way. For the next half hour, Alexandra guided them through the lab, explaining the equipment and programs in terms Lily could understand. The little girl was fascinated, especially by a simple coding game that allowed her to move a cartoon cat through obstacles. You're a natural, Alexandra told her as Lily successfully navigated a particularly tricky level. She's always been good with patterns, Tyler said proudly. Her teacher says she has a mathematical mind. Like you, Daddy, Lily said without looking away from the screen. Mommy always said you were the smartest boy in school. Alexandra noticed the flash of sadness that crossed Tyler's face at the mention of Lily's mother, but decided not to pry. As their impromptu tour ended, Tyler checked his watch. We should probably head out. It's getting close to dinner time. Thank you for coming, Alexandra said. And thank you for showing me your ballet skills the other day, Lily. Lily beamed. You should come see our big show. I'm going to be a butterfly. Oh, Alexandra looked at Tyler questioningly. The center's spring recital, he explained. It's next Friday evening. Nothing fancy, just the kids showing what they've learned. I'd love to come, Alexandra said sincerely. Tyler looked surprised, then pleased. It starts at 7. I'll be helping backstage, but there should be plenty of seats. I'll be there, she promised. After they left, Alexandra's PR director approached her. The event was a success. We've got great footage for the company newsletter and social media. Good, Alexandra said absently, watching through the window as Tyler lifted Lily onto his shoulders again for the walk to the bus stop. Who was that man you were speaking with? Her director asked. The tall one with the little girl. Just some community members interested in the lab, Alexandra replied, suddenly protective of her connection to Tyler and Lily. The director mused. They seemed quite taken with you. Alexandra turned away from the window. We should start packing up. I have a dinner meeting at 8. The next Friday, Alexandra arrived at the community center 30 minutes before the recital was due to begin. She'd come directly from work, still wearing the sleek pantsuit she'd chosen that morning, but had brought a small gift for Lily, a butterfly pendant on a delicate chain that had caught her eye in a boutique window. The auditorium was already filling with parents, grandparents, and siblings. Alexandra found a seat near the front, feeling slightly out of place among the families. Most were dressed casually, many having come straight from work like her, but few wore designer suits or carried luxury handbags. She spotted Tyler briefly as he hurried between the stage and the makeshift dressing rooms. He wore black pants and a white button-down shirt, presumably the closest approximation of stagehands attire the center could manage. His face was serious with concentration as he helped adjust a wobbly piece of scenery. The recital itself was charming in its imperfection. Children from 4 to 12 performed ballet, jazz, and hip-hop routines with varying degrees of coordination. Alexandra found herself genuinely enjoying the show, especially when Lily's class of 5- and 6-year-olds took the stage in butterfly costumes made from colorful fabric wings attached to their arms. Lily spotted Alexandra in the audience and waved excitedly, nearly missing her cue. But then she fell into the routine, her face a mask of concentration identical to her father's as she carefully performed the steps she'd practiced. When the number ended, Alexandra clapped as enthusiastically as any proud parent. After the final bows, the audience flooded backstage to collect their performers. Alexandra hung back, suddenly unsure of her place in this celebration. She was neither family nor friend, just a woman who had encountered Tyler and Lily by chance and felt drawn to them for reasons she still didn't fully understand. She was about to leave when Lily burst through the crowd, still in her butterfly wings, and ran straight to her. "Did you see me? Did you see my dance?" she asked breathlessly. "I did," Alexandra replied, kneeling down to her level. "You were the most beautiful butterfly on the stage." "Lily," Tyler's concerned voice cut through the crowd before he appeared, looking relieved when he spotted his daughter. "You can't run off like that. I was worried." "I was just finding Alexandra," Lily explained, as though this was the most reasonable thing in the world. "She saw my dance, Daddy." Tyler's expression softened when he saw Alexandra. "You really came." "I said I would," she replied simply, standing to face him. "You did a wonderful job with the production. The scenery was impressive for a community show." "I just helped build it," he said modestly. "The art teacher designed everything." He ran a hand through his hair, which had become slightly disheveled during his backstage duties. The gesture was oddly endearing. "I brought something for Lily," Alexandra said, holding out the small gift bag. "I hope that's okay." Tyler hesitated only briefly before nodding. Lily opened the package with excitement, gasping when she saw the butterfly necklace. "It's so pretty," she exclaimed. "Can I wear it now, Daddy, please?" "It's very nice," Tyler said to Alexandra, a question in his eyes. "Just a small congratulations for her performance," Alexandra explained. "It reminded me of her when I saw it." Tyler helped Lily put on the necklace, his large fingers managing the delicate clasp with the same dexterity Alexandra had first noticed when he was braiding his daughter's hair in the coffee shop. "Thank you," he said, and she knew he meant for more than just the gift. "We're going for ice cream to celebrate," Lily announced. "You should come too." Alexandra glanced at Tyler, who looked momentarily flustered but then nodded. "You're welcome to join us if you don't have other plans." The hope in his eyes matched Lily's, and Alexandra found herself nodding. "I'd love to." The ice cream shop was crowded with other families from the recital, but they managed to find a small table in the corner. Lily chattered excitedly about her performance between bites of chocolate ice cream with rainbow sprinkles. Tyler and Alexandra shared amused glances over her head, their initial awkwardness gradually melting away. "So," Tyler said during a rare pause in Lily's monologue, "a technology company CEO." "That's impressive," Alexandra shrugged. "It's just a job." "A job that funds entire community labs," he pointed out with a smile. "What about you?" she asked. Lily mentioned construction work. "I'm a site foreman," he explained. "It's good, steady work, not glamorous, but it pays the bills." Mostly. There was no self-pity in his tone, just matter-of-factness. Alexandra admired that. "And you used to dance in college," she prompted, remembering his earlier comment. A shadow crossed his face. "Another lifetime ago. I was a performing arts major, dance emphasis." "That's where I met Lily's mom." Alexandra waited, sensing there was more to the story. "She was a dancer too," Tyler continued, glancing at Lily to make sure she was absorbed in her ice cream. "More talented than me. We had plans to try for Broadway after graduation. Then Lily came along and we adjusted our dreams." He smiled at his daughter. "Best adjustment I ever made." "And Lily's mother?" Alexandra asked softly. Tyler's expression grew sad. "Car accident when Lily was 2, drunk driver." "I'm so sorry," Alexandra said, understanding now the weight she'd sensed he carried. "It was hard," he acknowledged. "Still is, sometimes. But we're doing okay, aren't we, Lilybug?" Lily, who had been pretending not to listen while drawing patterns in her melting ice cream, looked up. "We're doing great, Daddy, especially since we met Alexandra." Both adults laughed, breaking the moment of sadness. "Kids," Tyler said with a shake of his head. "No filter." "It's refreshing," Alexandra replied. "In my world, everyone calculates everything they say." "The corporate jungle must be very different from a construction site," Tyler observed. "Though I imagine both have their dangers." "Fewer falling beams in my office," Alexandra joked, but more metaphorical backstabbing. Tyler laughed, and the sound warmed something in Alexandra's chest. It occurred to her that she hadn't enjoyed a simple evening like this ice cream and genuine conversation in longer than she could remember. As they walked back to the community center parking lot where they'd all left their cars, Lily skipped ahead, her butterfly wings fluttering in the evening breeze. "Thank you for including me tonight," Alexandra said. "It's been lovely." Tyler looked at her thoughtfully. "Why did you come to the recital? You barely know us." The question caught her off guard with its directness. "I don't know," she admitted. "Something about seeing you with Lily that first day in the coffee shop, the way you braided her hair with such care, it stayed with me." "My dad taught me," Tyler said quietly. "After my mom died when I was 12, he said I needed to know how to do girl things for when I had a daughter someday." He looked ahead at Lily. He was right. They reached Alexandra's car first, a luxury sedan that stood out among the more modest vehicles in the lot. "Would you?" Tyler began, then seemed to think better of it. "Would I what?" Alexandra prompted. He took a breath. "Would you like to have dinner sometime, just adults?" No ice cream or butterfly costumes. Alexandra felt a smile spread across her face. "I'd like that very much." "Great," Tyler said, looking both relieved and pleased. "I should warn you, though, I can't take you anywhere fancy, not on my budget." "I don't need fancy," Alexandra replied. "And I'm perfectly capable of paying for my own dinner, or yours." Tyler's expression grew serious. "I'm not looking for someone to rescue us, Alexandra. Lily and I are managing fine." "I know that," she said softly. "That's one of the things I admire about you." But friendship, or whatever this might become, isn't about financial equality. It's about enjoying each other's company. He considered this, then nodded. "Fair enough, though I insist on cooking for you at least once. I make an excellent lasagna." "It's a date," Alexandra said, feeling a flutter of anticipation. Lily came running back to them. "Are you leaving, Alexandra?" "Yes, sweetheart," she replied, bending down to the child's level again. "But I'll see you again soon. Your dad is going to make me dinner one night." Lily's eyes widened. "At our apartment, can I help cook?" Tyler ruffled his daughter's hair. "We'll see. Now say goodnight to Alexandra." Instead of speaking, Lily threw her arms around Alexandra's neck in a spontaneous hug. Alexandra froze for a moment, then returned the embrace gently. "Good night, butterfly," she whispered. As Alexandra drove home, she realized she was smiling. Her phone buzzed with work emails and messages, but for once, they didn't seem urgently important. Instead, her mind kept returning to the image of Tyler's hands strong enough to carry lumber on a construction site, gentle enough to braid his daughter's hair, skilled enough to fix wobbly scenery and help nervous children with ballet steps. Hands that spoke of responsibility, care, and quiet strength. Hands she was beginning to think she might want to hold. Over the next few months, Alexandra found her carefully structured life undergoing a subtle but profound transformation. Dinners with Tyler, sometimes at modest restaurants, sometimes at her penthouse apartment, sometimes at his small but tidy two-bedroom home, became regular occurrences. Weekend outings with Lily joined her calendar alongside board meetings and investor calls. She learned that Tyler had given up his dance aspirations not just because of Lily's birth, but because his father had become ill during his senior year of college. He'd left school to care for him and never returned, taking construction jobs to pay the medical bills. After his father's death, he'd continued in the field, finding he had a talent for the work. Tyler, in turn, discovered that Alexandra's drive came partly from growing up with parents who'd never taken her technological interests seriously, steering her instead toward more suitable careers for a woman. She'd started her company with the inheritance from her grandmother, the only family member who'd believed in her vision. Their worlds were different, but their values aligned in ways that mattered: hard work, integrity, and putting family first. By the time autumn leaves began to fall, Alexandra realized she'd fallen deeply in love with both Tyler and Lily. The revelation didn't shock her as much as she might have expected. Instead, it felt like acknowledging something she'd known for months. What did surprise her was Tyler's proposal on a crisp October evening as they walked through a park after dropping Lily at a friend's birthday sleepover. "I've been carrying this around for weeks," he said, pulling a small box from his pocket. The ring inside was modest but beautiful, a simple sapphire that matched his eyes, set in silver rather than gold. "I saved for months," he explained, seeming nervous for the first time since she'd known him. "I know it's not what you're used to, but it's perfect," Alexandra interrupted, tears filling her eyes. "Absolutely perfect." "Is that a yes?" Tyler asked, his hands steady as they held the ring, just as they'd been steady that first morning when braiding his daughter's hair. "Yes," Alexandra replied without hesitation. 1,000 times yes. When they told Lily the next day, her reaction was pure joy followed by practical concerns. "Will you be my new mommy now?" she asked Alexandra seriously. "If you'd like me to be," Alexandra answered, her heart full. "I could never replace your real mom, but I would be honored to be your second mom." Lily considered this, then nodded. "Okay, but you have to learn how to braid hair like Daddy. He's the best," Tyler laughed. "I'll teach her all my secrets." "I look forward to learning," Alexandra said, and knew she meant far more than just hair braiding. 6 months later, they were married in a simple ceremony at the community center where they'd truly begun to know each other. Lily served as both flower girl and junior bridesmaid, insisting on both roles. Alina, the dance teacher whose hip had fortuitously pained her that fateful day, sat in the front row. Alexandra wore a designer dress, but Tyler looked just as elegant in a suit he'd saved carefully to buy. When they spoke their vows, his hands held hers with the same gentle strength she'd first noticed that rainy morning in the coffee shop. At the reception, as Tyler twirled his daughter in a dance he'd choreographed specially for them, Alexandra watched with the same sense of wonder that had first stopped her in the doorway of that coffee shop. But now, instead of being an observer of their lives, she was part of them. Later, as she and Tyler shared their first dance as husband and wife, he pulled her close and whispered, "Thank you for seeing me that day." "I couldn't look away," she admitted. "Something about your hands when you were braiding Lily's hair. I'd never seen such gentleness in a man before." "Those hands are yours now," he said softly. "Both the strength and the gentleness, always." As they moved across the dance floor, Alexandra realized that for all her professional success, she'd never felt as rich as she did in this moment, not because of what she could give Tyler and Lily materially, but because of what they'd already given her. A family built on love, respect, and the kind of care that showed itself in the smallest gestures, like a father taking the time to perfect his daughter's braids before school. Sometimes, she reflected, the greatest treasures came disguised in worn flannel shirts and faded purple raincoats. And sometimes, the strongest hands were the gentlest ones.